Hey podcaster, I'm Tim Wahlberg, your podcast performance coach with another actionable tip so you can sound like a pro and gain more podcast fans. Today's tip is more of a question, that being, who's driving your podcast bus? Have you ever had someone grab the wheel while you're driving? Or had a dream where you're cruising down the road and suddenly you realize nobody's driving? Scary stuff, right? This is what's happening in your podcast when you don't have a designated driver. And that should scare the shit out of you. I know what you're thinking. I don't have a bus. Oh, I'd say you do have a bus, and it's your podcast, and it's magnificent. It's filled with all of your podcast fans. They're listening, they're laughing, and they're learning. And every time you open your mouth, they cheer and they smile. Okay, snap out of it. This tip is primarily for podcasters with 2 or more hosts, but it also relates to solo hosts, especially if you have guests. As a podcaster, you need to know who's driving the bus. We use this term in radio. Think of your favorite morning show. Co-hosts will usually have designated roles on their show. The person who controls the show and the person who's along for the ride. Bus driver and co-pilot. Now, don't go getting your ego all twisted up in a bunch here. The person along for the ride is no less important. They just have a different role to play. Think of sports. There's usually a color commentator, someone with game analysis and tidbits about players in the game, and a play-by-play announcer who'll describe the action. They'll usually be the one who gives the score, gets in and out of commercials, and reads the promos. Like tonight on Fox, it's raining shuttlecocks as the Spice Girls drop by for a benefit concert to help Will Sasso's failing badminton range in an all-new Bye Bye Birdie tonight on Fox. So, which are you? Do you know? You should. When it comes to your podcast, the bus driver keeps the show moving forward, handles the intro and the extra, presents the guest or topic, ensures the interview or conversation is going in the right direction, slips in the odd sponsor read, does the call to action, and keeps your eye on the clock. The passenger or co-pilot will often deliver the goods, the fun, the facts, or the unexpected. Now, these roles don't have to be permanent. You might decide that one of you is going to drive for the first part of the show, but then you'll switch for the interview. That's all good, as long as you both know and respect who's driving. In a case where one of you might be an expert in your niche, then you'd probably want to keep your roles locked in. Now, let me be clear. If you're banging out podcasts with your basement buddies about beers, burgers, and balls, then you might not care. But the minute you want someone to do something for you, and I'm talking about a listener to follow, subscribe, or check out something on your website, you want to be consistent when you ask. One of you needs to take control. So, how do you figure out who should be driving the bus? You could arm wrestle, play rock, paper, scissors, or have your fathers fight it out. Sábado en Fox Español. Padre versus Padre. Una noche muy peligroso. Es super mega sangriento. Sábado a las 8 on Fox. If you have an honest relationship with your co-host or co-hosts, you'll probably know between you who has the chops for the job. Usually in most partnerships, people will fall into one of these roles naturally. Talk about this with your co-host. And if you're going to share duties, share, but keep it consistent once you decide on this. If you're a solo show on your own, you still need to be driving your bus. You're doing everything, I know, but keep it moving forward. If you're a solo host and have guests on your show, again, you're always the driver, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the scenery along the way and maybe take your hands off the wheel once in a while, but not for too long. Your guests might try to grab it. Then your listeners might decide to abandon ship. I know, I'm mixing my metaphors here, but I'm like a runaway train sometimes. So if you're the one driving, keep your hands on the wheel during your podcast. If you're the co-pilot, know your role. Look out the window and enjoy the ride. Just don't be a backseat driver. Let the driver drive, and we won't have any mangled podcasts burning at the side of the road. Just look away. It ain't pretty. And I hope that's just the tip you need. Now, if you're driving down the road and your GPS isn't working anymore and you really have no clue where you're going, you might not even have a map. That's pretty dangerous out there. You might need to call for roadside podcast assistance. I can get you moving in the right direction with all the tools you need to get to your destination safely. Check out my one-on-one coaching packages at podcastperformancecoach.com. I'm Tim Walbert. See you!